Bueno, ya sé que esto no es como que el mejor trabajo que haya hecho, para nada lo es. He hecho proyectos escolares mucho mejores, pero simplemente lo hago porque estoy aburrido. Quiero intentar aprender algo de edición y todo eso. Y pues, digamos que estuve como que procrastinando bastante este proyecto y aplazándolo. Así que pues aquí se los traigo. Tuve que recortar la mitad. O sea, fue un video de 1 hora en total y tuve que al final volverlo un video de media hora, lo cual pues más o menos era mi idea. Quizás con esto se pase un poco, pero pues espero lo disfruten y con esto puedan pasar un rato mientras estamos aquí encerrados. Los te quiero mucho. Ok, se supone que estoy de vuelta. Hice un par de ajustes, tuve que reiniciar el juego y por ende se cortó la grabación anterior. Es la primera vez que lo hago. Solo lo hago porque estoy aburrido. No tengo nada más que hacer a esta hora, además de dormir, pero no tengo sueño. Eventualmente averiguaré cómo activar, poder grabar con imagen. Pero por ahora voy a grabar solo audio y obviamente el juego. Estamos en una especie de juego de simulación de un oficinista llamado Stanley. El juego se llama Stanley Parable. Y creo que es un juego que te hace
This is the
pensar.
story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winding, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Era.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Nel.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Es un juego bastante reflexivo, pero no me quiero meter tanto en ello. Quisiera nada más disfrutar y que las decisiones random lleguen a que hagamos cualquier tontería, cualquier cosa que el narrador eventualmente relatará, quizás sobre analizando lo que hacemos.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle.
Ok, ahora sí vamos a salir de la oficina a explorar el mundo. abrir la puerta.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo?
Era una
no
pintura, si mal no recuerdo. Si mal no recuerdo, no sé, este juego... Creo que...
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Creo que el juego juega más con nosotros que nosotros a él. Una computadora encendida. Ay, ya la apagué. ¿Lo puedo prender otra vez? No. Bueno, es importante tenerlos apagadas si no hay nadie. Vida ecológica.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference. Nor, oh please, are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Bueno, lo haré 20 veces.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause.
Okay, 50.
Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Ni siquiera sabía que había un logro por cliquear puertas. Pero aquí me van a tener.
I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Esta es la 418. Voy a dejar 3 segundos. Ya. Una tacita.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nel.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nel perro.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
No puedo tomarme un refresquito.
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Soy un cangrejo.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Bueno.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
La primera puerta a la izquierda. No sé si quiero ir ahí. Yo voy a seguir así.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
¿Es una compañía de construcción o de qué? Ni idea, pero están unos planos y vi que había una obra. No mientas si estás mintiendo para ahora. ¿Y cómo sabes si estoy mintiendo o no? No sé. Uy, quiero que me den un paseo en el diablito. Sí. Cuidado, no salte del cargo. Jejeje. YOLO.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Lo peor es que te multaban por $5,000 por hacer eso. Me da un poquito de miedo que se cierren las puertas solas.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Por la puerta red.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Que...
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Sí.
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do not think I put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here. Help elucidate the strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
No.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Va muy rápido.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Lo segundo,
because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll. Let's give it a shot.
A ver. A ver con qué me vas a salir, pequeño señor narrador. Oh.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will do. Here. No. Here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off... Yes. It's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
No tengo dónde más ir y no me deja saltar, así que... pero...
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Vamos, vamos, vamos. Ahí hay una caverna. Y...
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Creo que hasta copiaron el sonido al caminar sobre roca. Mira, con esto podemos hacer... Bueno.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Creo que el narrador tiene su carisma. Es muy agradable. Sobre todo hacerlo enojar.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it.
Portal.
You trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Sí, es Portal, ¿no? Sí, creo que... Oh, sí.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than consider...
¿Qué es esto? Se nos fue el narrador. Está resentido. Esta es la 420. Oh, vamos a la 427. Pero no. Ah, ahí está.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
Tiene cierto carisma, pero también me da miedo.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Vamos a la sala de reuniones.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Cuántos caminos habrá?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Para no ser despedido, habla menos. ¿Cómo resolver una disputa con un... Olvidé cómo se decía en español. Aquí hay unos muy malos jefes. Comienzo a creer eso. Aquí debería estar.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Ay, ya se fue otra vez. Ya no dijo nada. ¿Me perdonas? ¿Me perdonas?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Luego vamos abajo, a ver qué hay arriba. Ay, qué feo, ni la secretarista. ¿Se imaginan tener todo un edificio para ustedes?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. Oh.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination... Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. 2845. But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Bueno, lleno. Me encanta cuando se enoja este narrador porque se pone como muy agresivo, pero tratando de mantener su cordura ahí, con su acento británico y todo.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Qué rayos? Está muy difícil. Vamos a ver. ¿Qué encontramos? Está muy oscuro aquí. No hay un escape, definitivamente. De seguro este se va a abrir.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Esto se siente como en la Matrix.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
¿Qué? ¿Cuántas pantallas son entonces? 500 se supone. A ver, supone que soy el 417. Ah, no, era el 427. Debería ser uno de esos. Córtale, mi chavo. Ahí. Sí, esa es mi oficina.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Sí.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
Estás
Never.
rompiendo la
It was
cuarta pared.
unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Sí a todo.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Peligro. Riesgo de electrificarse. Por ahora vamos a apagarlo. Luego vemos el final alternativo de esto. Se supone que Stanley ya no es controlado mentalmente por nosotros. Se supone.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Exacto.
Where had his co-workers gone?
Sí lo seguimos
How had he been
controlando.
freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Supone que ya soy libre, así que puedo hacer lo que quiera, ¿no? Pues tú me estás diciendo todo el tiempo qué hacer y te pones agresivo cuando te digo que no, compa, así como quieres que no.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Completar el juego. Que yo pensé que se iba a durar un poquito más, pero teniendo en cuenta que tiene muchísimos finales. Creo que está bien la duración, como para que te lleve por bastantes caminos a final de cuentas. Volvimos. Y henos aquí. Bueno, yo voy a dejar esto hasta aquí. Pues ahí si ustedes llegan a ver esto, saben que se lo hice por aburrimiento. Consideraré abrir alguna plataforma en la que pueda hablar con ustedes mientras jugamos, no sé, ya veré cómo hago todo esto. Pues hasta la próxima.